All right.
You don't want the mat?
You can use it.
Oh.
I can use this.
Oh wait, should I be barefoot for this?
Probably, yeah. We're good at that. Hello, if you're just jumping on to do practice tonight, this is going to be a class using the wall as a prop. So if you've got a spot somewhere in your house where there aren't any pictures, where there's no windows, that's going to be your best bet. And if that is not an option for you, just know that there's a ton of other classes that you can take on our on Yoga Factory's list of YouTube classes. So if a wall is not an option, there's plenty of other options for classes that you can take this evening. This is super fun. If you've never done a wall class, it's one of the best props that you can possibly utilize. It's one of my favorite things to do. We're gonna get started around 5 o'clock on the dot. So you've got a few minutes. If you wanted music for today's class, I think I put a link in the Facebook Live information. And if you're on YouTube, you can go to Elizabeth Scollin on Spotify. And this playlist is called Off, or should I say On the Wall Vinyasa. I'm a funny one. I figured you guys were getting tired of looking at the same part of my room. So we're feng shuiing things a little bit. Do you guys have enough space?
I think so, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We're getting started in about 5, and if you're just jumping on, we're utilizing the wall as a prop tonight. So find a spot in your house. It doesn't have to be much space, just enough space that you can put the short edge of your mat up against the molding. And you want to make sure that there's not a window there or any kind of pictures, nothing that you might knock down or kick through.
Oh, it must have.
I'm gonna add the playlist to this. Hold on, let's see. Still here. I'm just adding the link to the playlist if you wanted to listen to some music. We got some dramatic sunshine coming through. Hopefully that's not going to make it tough for you to see. Yeah, that should be good. Just a little ambiance. If you're jumping on too, just a friendly reminder. Hey, Net, how are you? Know that tonight at 9 p.m. we're having a little cocktail hour, a little nightcap. So it should be in your emails from Yoga Factory. There's a link to a Zoom. So bring whatever beverage you so desire, and we'll get to actually see each other's faces.
Now just practice kicking up from that position. There you go. way to do it. You don't need the full rotation.
Oh, it feels so natural.
Yeah.
Three more minutes and we'll get started. If you're just jumping on, we're doing a class that utilizes the wall as a tool. So if that's not a great option for you today, you can modify what we're doing and do as much of it without the wall as you'd like, or you can jump on and take one of the other classes that we have on Yoga Factory Annapolis. There's a ton of different options, but figured everybody was probably ready to mix things up a little bit, try something different. We all have a little bit of wall space somewhere in the house. Just make sure that you're not underneath of a picture or a window, and you should be good to go. Hey, Michelle. All right. 2 more minutes and we'll get going. If you're just joining us, we're using the wall tonight. So find a spot somewhere in your house. You don't need a ton of space, like basically just enough to put the short edge of your mat up against the wall so that you can utilize it basically as another tool for your practice.
It looks cool.
All right. There we go. Okie dokie. Wow. Really bright. I think once I'm behind the light, it's okay. All right, friends, it is yoga time. So finding that spot by the wall, short edge of your mat should be right up against the molding. And we're gonna start standing up today. We're just gonna kind of get right to it because we've got a lot to boogie through. So you're gonna start with your feet about a footprint away from the wall. You might find for yourself that it ends up being a little bit more. You'll figure it out once we come into our forward fold. You're just gonna drop your chin down towards your chest and kind of roll down your spine. So keep your knees soft, but keep your belly a little bit toned. And see if you can really find the articulation of each vertebra as you roll yourself down. Remember that bend in your knees, the spread of your toes, and eventually you're coming fully into the forward fold where you're allowing your sits bones, the bones that are in your butt, to actually rest on the wall behind you. And you're gonna reach for opposite elbows. Right hand can hold onto your left elbow, left hand can hold onto your right elbow. Start to lift your sits bones a little bit higher up the wall and start to pull your lower belly muscles up and in, and then let the upper half of your body really get heavy. Imagine that gravity was working more on that part of the body, letting the crown of the head release down in between your arms. You might even bring your hands to the floor and walk your feet in a little bit closer, so as the hamstrings start to open, lifting those hips up a little bit higher. So you still have contact between your sits bones and the wall, but the legs become a little bit closer to straight. Still keeping that contact between the front of your ribs and the front of your legs. Take one more big breath and fill up your lower belly. So really get round through your abdomen, and you'll notice it kind of presses you off of your thighs. And then exhale, really completely let go of that breath. And then release your hands down to the floor, and we're gonna walk ourselves to a downward facing dog with the heels up the wall. So hands are walking forward, and you're gonna walk yourself so that the balls of the feet are kind of at the corner where the molding meets the wall, and the heels are actually up the wall. Now bend your knees and poke your sits bones way up towards the ceiling. So what you're working to do is to create more of a curve in your lower back. And you might notice that because your feet are up the wall, it feels like your arms have to do a little bit more. Try to press down into all 10 of your fingers and then wrap the outer part of your arm down. It's like an external rotation of your upper arm. Take the sides of the waist up and back. So the sides of the body are lengthening and lifting those sits bones up a little bit more. Take a little wiggle side to side here, right to left, still keeping that tone in your lower belly. Now keep your heels where they are. Start to roll forward so that you're coming into high plank pose. If you lose contact between your heels and the wall, walk your feet back. We want to make sure that the shoulders stack over top of the wrists. And I want you to activate the press of your heels into the wall, almost like as if you could move the wall. So the balls of the feet are up against the wall at that corner, and the heels are pressing the wall back behind you. Lengthen from your head to your heels. Tighten those lower belly muscles and then press into your hands to widen through the space of your shoulder blades. Look just slightly forward with your hands. And then press off of the wall so that your heels lift off of the wall. Elbows are gonna hug in and back, and you're gonna lower all the way down onto your belly. Now you can always do this with your knees down. Now walk yourself back so that the balls of the feet are against the wall again, or right up against that corner. You're pressing your heels back. Bring your hands next to your sides. Keep activating your legs, so your knees should actually be off of the floor here. You're lifting up on your quadriceps. Pressing into your hands to curl up into a low cobra pose. So elbows hugging tight towards the sides of the ribs. Fingers pull back to draw the chest forward. Keep reaching your heels into the wall. Activate those legs a lot. You should feel a little squeeze in your glutes as well. And then exhale, lower all the way back down to your forehead. Let's press those hips back to the heels. Just for a moment, little stretch through your calf muscles. And then roll forward into a tabletop pose. Keep your heels up the wall here. Inhale, let your belly drop down towards the floor. Let your tailbone lift. Draw your shoulder blades together and look up so you're in cow pose. And then exhale, round. Scoop your tailbone underneath of you. Widen the space between your shoulder blades. Take your gaze towards your navel for cat. Inhale, tailbone lifts, belly drops, look forward, and then traction your hands back to kind of broaden through your collarbones. And then exhale to round again. Scoop the tail, press and widen. One more time, cat to cow at your own pace. Nice work. You're gonna slide your left knee up against the wall, and you're gonna step your right foot through to the space between your hands. So all of us are gonna have different levels of comfort in the quadricep. And if it feels like it's a little too much on that kneecap, you can take your mat and roll it up underneath of the knee to give it a little bit more support. Now bring your hands to your front thigh, your right thigh, and press your hips back towards your heel. If your hands don't come up onto the thigh, you can keep your hands on the floor. That's also an option. But you're pressing your back towards the wall to stretch out your left quadricep. If you feel pretty comfortable here, start to drive that right big toe forward so your arms up. See if you can bring your thumbs to touch the wall behind you. Let your chest lift, let your gaze lift, and reach the fingertips towards the sky. Exhale, release your hands all the way down to frame that front foot. You're gonna slide that left knee forward so that you're coming into a kneeling position with your left shin down, your forehead on your right leg. Then step the feet together and find a half lift. Inhale. Exhale, release your hands down to the floor, step back to your bending down dog, heels up the wall. Think about that sense of lightness at your lower belly, that there's almost like a balloon was at your navel, giving you a buoyancy there so that you're not collapsing into your arms. Roll forward through your spine. Let's come into that high plank pose again. Remember, you want those heels really activating against the wall, which is gonna help you to engage more muscles in your legs. Lengthen from your head to your heels. And use that sense of connection with the wall to tone your lower belly a little bit more. One more big breath in, lengthening in both directions. Exhale once again, we're gonna lower all the way down. So press the balls of the feet. Your heels will lift off of the wall, elbows hug in and back, and you're gonna lower all the way down. This time, just let the tops of the feet come to the floor. We won't bring the heels up against the molding. You'll press your big toe back into the wall, and then start to peel up into your cobra pose. Tractioning your hands back to draw the chest forward, soften the neck, soften the shoulders. Exhale, lower all the way back down to your forehead. Take your hips to your heels, and then roll it forward into your tabletop pose. Bring your heels up against the wall. Step your right knee up against the molding. So right knee comes all the way up against that corner, and you're gonna step your left foot through. You might have to pop up onto fingertips, or you could use blocks if you have them. Maybe hands stay on the floor, so if this quadricep stretches plenty, stay put. Otherwise, hands coming to that left thigh. You're gonna drive that left big toe forward as you press your sits bones all the way back so that they're maybe making contact with your foot. And maybe those arms reach up, bringing your thumb to touch the wall if you can, and then curling open, open, open through the chest. Take your gaze up. Let your chest lift. It's a sense of like your shoulder blades kind of tucking underneath the back of your chest, encouraging it forward and up. Let's take one more big breath in. This light is so bright. I want to see if I can fix it for you guys, but I don't know that I can. Ay, ay, ay. All right, release the hands all the way back down to the floor. It's not any better. Sorry, guys. And you're going to step that left shin forward, so you're bringing your forehead down towards your left knee. I'm sorry, right shin comes forward. So you're in this kind of half kneeling pose. And then rise to a standing half lift, hands to your shin bones. Exhale, release both hands all the way down to the floor. Step it back, come into your downward facing dog with the balls of the feet up the wall. Roll forward through your spine. Let's come into high plank pose again. Always the option to walk hands forward if you feel like your shoulders come behind or in front of your wrists. This time we're gonna lower halfway down. I want you to see if you can keep the contact between your heels and the wall. Elbows hugging tight, and you're gonna bend them down halfway. Keep reaching the heels back. Keep your belly strong. Breathing for 3. Breathing for 2. On 1, come forward, tops of the feet to the floor. Firm up your legs so your knees are lifted, your hips are lifted. Drag your hands back to draw your chest forward. And then exhale, curl your toes under, take the sides of the waist up and back. Downward facing dog with your feet up the wall. Now this time you're gonna bend your right knee and take your right foot up. So the ball of your right foot is now on the wall, but it's way up towards the sky. So you're working in the direction of what looks a little bit like a split. Press the ball of the foot into the wall, press into your hands, and then see if you can lift your left foot off of the floor. It's almost like you were trying to plug your left hip into the socket. Squeeze and lift. And then lower that left foot all the way down. Nice job. Don't worry if you didn't get it. Just try. Curl that right knee in towards your chest and step the right foot all the way through. Keep the left foot up against the wall. So press that left heel back. Press your right big toe forward. Firm up your thighs and then sweep your arms all the way up to frame your ears. Scissor your inner thighs towards one another, especially that left thigh scissors forward. Squeeze your left glute. Deepen the bend in the front knee and move your arms up and back. Keep activating that back heel against the wall and firm up your back quadricep so that back leg is straight and strong. One more big breath in. Exhale to release your hands down to frame your front foot. You're gonna slide your left shin in, bring your left shin to the floor, bring your forehead to your right knee. This time we're gonna take it to a standing split. So hands down to the floor or up on your fingertips. Keep the contact between your thigh, your right thigh, and your belly, and extend your left leg up towards the ceiling. One or both of the hands might come to the back of your right calf, or you can simply keep your hands planted on the floor. Angle your left hip to face down, and then lift from the back of that left thigh. Let your forehead release down towards the shin bone. Now step the feet together. Find your half lifts. Exhale, release to your forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way to stand this time. Sweep your arms all the way up to frame your ears, and exhale your hands down in front of your heart. Let's turn to face the wall. So now you're gonna bring yourself close enough that you can place your right foot directly on the wall without leaning forward and without bending the knee. Now, if your hamstring is really tight and you find that you're just not quite capable of doing it with a straight leg, as straight as you can possibly get it, if you can, you're lifting that right foot up to the height of your right hip. Find the scissor of your inner thighs towards one another, press your right foot into the wall, press your left foot down into the floor, and reach your arms up to frame your ears. Lengthen the sides of the body, using your lower belly, so there's a sense of closing the space between the front of your hips and the bottom of your ribs. And then exhale, lean forward, and see if you can catch the outsides of your calf, your ankle, your heel, lower belly up and in, as you release your forehead down towards that right shin. Keep activating both of your legs. Inhale, reach those arms all the way back up to frame your ears. You're gonna step that right foot to meet your left foot nice and slow. And then exhale, come forward and bring your hands onto the wall instead. You might walk your hips back a little bit. We're gonna open the shoulders a little bit. So let your belly and your chest drop down towards the floor. For this first few breaths, I want you to let there be a big curve in the upper back, the lower back. Bend your knees, lift your sits bones way up, and then start to turn the outer arm down a little bit. This idea of kind of deepening or closing off your armpit. Keep opening your chest towards the floor. Inhale, press up. Let's see if you can start to find a little bit more of a flat back. So now your head is in between your arm bones. You're knitting your bottom ribs in. Press your palms into the wall. Squeeze your glutes and reach down through your heels. One more time, let your chest drop. Bend your knees. Lift the sits bones up. And then exhale, close it off. Knit the ribs in. Reach your palms into the wall. Squeeze your glutes. Heels down. Inhale, walk those feet in towards your hands. Come all the way up to stand. Let's face back in towards the center of the room. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way out and up. Exhale, hinge at your hips, fold all the way back down to the floor. Find your half lift. Slide the hands up to the shin bones or fingertips on the floor. Plant your palms and step back to your bent knee down dog with your heels all the way up against the wall. Let's see if I can fix this. It's still really bad. All right, so hands on the floor, you're in your downward facing dog. Roll forward through your spine. Come into your high plank pose. Exhale, lower halfway down. Keep those heels pressing against the wall for 3, 2. On 1, press off of the wall. Come into your upward facing dog. Firm up your legs, your glutes. Traction the hands back, open your chest. And then exhale, take those heels directly back up against the wall. Left leg goes up. So bend your left knee and then skate your left leg up towards the top corner of the room. You're trying to keep that left hip facing down. Press the ball of the foot into the wall. Press into your hands. Keep shifting the weight up and back. Maybe, just maybe, you're lifting your right foot off of the floor. 3. Breathing deep. 2. On 1, place that right foot back against the molding so that you've got your heel up the wall. Curl your left knee in towards your nose. Roll forward and step your left foot up. Let's come into high lunge pose. So pressing the feet down, squeezing the inner thighs towards one another to rise all the way up. Now, the more you press that back heel back, the more you're going to feel the straightening of your back leg. Then scissor those inner thighs, bend your front knee, start to curl the gaze up, arm bones back so you're opening through your shoulders. A little bit of a tone in your lower belly for 3, 2. On 1, exhale, hands release all the way back down to the mat. You're going to slide that right shin bone in. Bring your sits bones down to the floor. Bring your forehead to your left knee. Gesture of surrender. And then straighten your left leg and take your right leg sky high. So keeping the contact between your belly and your leg. Lifting that right foot sky high without letting the hip turn open. So keep your right hip facing down. Lift from the back of your thigh. Release your head towards the floor. Step your feet together. Find your half lifts. Exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, arms sweep all the way out and up. Bring your palms to press. And exhale, hands to heart center. Let's turn to face the wall. So this time we're placing the left foot up against the wall. Remember, you want to be close enough that you're not falling to get to the wall and far enough away that you're not working with a super bent knee. The legs should be pretty close to straight. We want to have like this perfect 90-degree angle with the legs as best we can. Again, if your hamstring isn't quite open enough for that, just taking the leg up as high as you can get it. Anchor both heels. So right heel down, left heel forward, arms reach up. Find a scissor action of your inner thighs. When we have more points of contact, it allows us to engage more fully. It allows us to find our balance. Arms reach up to frame the ears, side bodies lengthen, and then exhale, lean forward. So you're hinging at your hips to bring your hands to the outside of that calf, ankle, or foot. Reach both heels as if you could press the floor away and the wall away. Inhale to rise all the way back up again. Come up onto the tippy toes of that left foot and then keep that leg straight as you bring it all the way back down to the floor. Let's come forward halfway. Keep that back long, that tone of your lower belly. Palms come to the wall. Elbows are going to bend in this time. So you're going to slide those hands up just a little bit higher than shoulder width this, or higher than your shoulders. And you're going to bend your elbows in so that we're opening up the triceps now. It's almost like taking dolphin pose, but on the wall. So your arms are like equal signs. You're pressing into your thumb and your forefinger, and you're letting your chest release down towards the floor, opening those big upper back muscles. And then scoop those bottom 2 ribs in, squeeze your glutes. Traction your elbows towards the floor. One more time, let your ribs go, let your sits bones lift, let your knees bend, open, 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 pressing your chest towards the wall. And then exhale, close it off. Bottom ribs in, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your belly. Press both hands into the wall at the same time, lift your elbows, and let's rise all the way back up to stand. Turn to face back in towards the center of the room. So we'll go through that whole sequence again. We'll pick up the pace, but we'll add to it as well. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana pose. Inhale, half lift. Plant your palms, step your heels up against the wall. If you want to skip a chaturanga, know that you can always just stay in downward dog. Otherwise, roll forward, high plank. Exhale, elbows hug in, lower halfway down. Roll forward, let's come into upward facing dog. Traction, hands back. Bring the heels up against the wall. Downward facing dog again. Inhale, right leg goes up. Press the toes into the wall. See if you can hover your left foot off of the mat. Bring your left foot all the way back so that the ball of the foot is up against the molding. Step your right foot all the way through. Press down into your feet to rise all the way up. This time you're going to spin your back foot out. So this one might take just a little bit of transition for everybody, but we're going to come to warrior 2. And I want you to anchor the outer edge of that left foot against the wall. Plant your left palm against the wall and then bend into your right knee. Reach your right fingertips towards the center of the room. Make sure that right knee is tracking in the direction of your toes. Squeeze those inner thighs towards one another, sink a little bit deeper into that front thigh. Find that active press of the back foot and the back hand against the points of contact. Now revolve, let your left hand release down. See if you can reach your right arm all the way up and back. Maybe you're able to touch the wall with your fingers, but keep bending into your right knee. Big opening through that right shoulder. Take the arms all the way back out over your legs. Straighten your front leg. Pivot your toes to face forward. Bring your hands to your lower back. You're going to press those hips forward, lift your chest, lift your gaze, and then exhale, hinge at your hips to fold all the way down towards the floor. Release your hands so that they're underneath of your shoulders. And then walk the hands back so that your fingers and toes create a straight line. Elbows bend back, hips lift up high, draw the crown of the head down, lift the tailbone way up towards the ceiling. Start to bring the weight just slightly towards the front of the foot so that you feel this more in the hamstrings. Elbows are parallel to one another here. All right, we're gonna find our half lift, and we're gonna turn to face forward in a lunge. All right, so listen up from here. We're gonna get a little bit fancy. Left hand plants on the mat. You're gonna start to spin your left foot towards the right side of the mat, and then right foot comes to the wall as well. So you're coming into side plank. Press your feet up against the wall. Lift those hips up, making sure that they're parallel to the space in front of you. And then the option, if you want, to bring that right foot up a little bit higher than your hip. Again, option to see if you can hover that left foot off of the floor. For 3, 2, on 1. Outer edge of that left foot down. Plant both of your palms. And then from here, you're going to step that right foot all the way up in between your hands. Left shin bone slides in next to your right foot. Bring your forehead down. Inhale, come into your standing split. Right leg straightens, left leg goes up. One or both of the hands can come to the back of your calf. See if you can challenge your balance here. Forehead towards the shin as that left leg lifts sky high. Step the feet together. Inhale to your half lift. Exhale, release to your forward fold. Inhale, arms sweep all the way up. Bring your palms to press. Exhale, hands to heart center. So we're going to change it up this time. You're going to place your right foot up against the wall. I'm going to do left foot just so that you can see me for this first one, but you all can do right foot since that's what we've been working on. All right, we're putting left foot up against the wall. And you're going to keep the hips open. So you're facing, rather than facing the wall, you're facing the lunge of your mat. Left toes are coming up to the height of your left hip. They're facing up towards the ceiling. Pivot your pelvis so that it's as close to parallel to the long edge of the mat as you can get. Reach the heels in opposing directions. Now bring your left forearm to the top of your left thigh and reach your right arm up and over.
Big side body stretch. You might even start to slide that left hand so that you're catching the underneath of your left ankle and you're reaching your right fingertips, seeing if you can get close to touching the wall. Keep drawing your right shoulder back so the chest stays open to the space at the side. Big breath in. And a big breath out. Inhale, arms come back out over your legs. Here's where we get fancy. Don't worry too much if you lose it. You're gonna start to pivot so that you're facing forward. Left toes turn to face down. Right toes turn to face back into the center of the room. So now you're in what looks a little bit more like warrior 3. Make sure your left toes face straight down towards the floor. Left hip faces down. Arms reach towards the center of the room. Press into both of your feet. Woo. 3, 2, on 1, hands to the floor. All right, so here's another option. You can stay put here or plant your palms and take your right foot up against the wall as well. Walk your hands closer to the molding, maybe starting with a little bit of a bend in your knees. Press your chest back towards the wall and then see if you could straighten your legs. So arms are straight, shoulders are open, and then lift your right toes up towards the ceiling. Reach through the center of the ball of your right foot. Suck your bottom 2 ribs in. Right foot comes all the way down. Left foot comes all the way down. Roll forward through your spine, come into your high plank. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward dog. Exhale, hips roll back. Take it to downward facing dog. Inhale, take your left leg up the wall. Follow that left foot, and then press to lift your right foot up. Lower your right foot all the way back down again. Step your left foot all the way through. High lunge pose. Press that back heel into the wall as your arms sweep all the way up. Exhale to warrior 2. So you're gonna open the hips towards the side of the mat, anchor the outer edge of your right foot against the wall, and then reach your right palm into the wall and the left fingertips forward. Bend into the front knee. Try to keep that contact between the pinky edge of your right foot and the molding. Revolve it. Right hand drops to the inside of your right thigh. Keep sliding the right fingertips back and down, and then see if you can keep the same deep bend in your left knee as you reach that left arm towards the back of the room. Maybe those fingertips touch the wall. Maybe they don't. Inhale, arms back out over your legs, straighten your front leg. Pivot the toes so that they're parallel to one another. They are facing the long edge of the mat. Hands come behind you, interlace your fingers, reach your knuckles down, spread the collarbones, look up, and then keep that nice long neutral spine to fold forward. Arms are gonna move up and over your head. You're releasing your forehead down towards the floor. Now maybe bring your palms to press together. Start to lift the sits bones up a little bit higher, tighten your lower belly. Release the crown of the head down so neck and shoulders are relaxed. Keep working those arms up and over the head. Rinsing out the shoulders. Release both hands all the way down to the floor, and we're gonna walk back to that lunge. So you're facing forward. All right, so listen to this transition before going. Your right palm plants. Start to turn so that the pinky edge of your right foot is up against the wall. Anchor that foot down. Left arm lifts up, left foot steps back. So you're in side plank pose with the shoulders stacked, the legs stacked, or maybe you're taking that left foot off of the wall. So left foot comes up a little bit higher than the hip, and you're in kind of a V stance with your legs. Press the left foot into the wall. See if you can lift your bottom leg. Ooh, this one's a little harder. Ooh. Nice job. Release both hands all the way down to the floor. Pivot those hips to face forward. Left foot goes up the wall. Step that left foot all the way through. Right shin bone slides in next to it. Bring your forehead down towards that top knee. Unfurl into your standing split. Keep the contact between your belly and your thigh. Bring one or both of your hands to the back of that left calf. Right leg reaches way up towards the sky. Step the feet together. Inhale, half lifts. Exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, arms sweep all the way out and up. Bring your palms to press above your head. And exhale, your hands to your heart. All right, so this time you're gonna bring your right foot or left foot up against the wall. I'm gonna turn away from you this time. So you're making sure, again, that you're not so close that the knee is bent. You wanna make sure that you're about a leg's length distance away from the wall, that your right foot, or left foot rather, is the height of your hip, that your hips are turning to face the long edge of your mat. Anchor down through both of your feet and see if you can level off that left hip. Reach your arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Then bring your left forearm to the top of your left thigh. Right arm reaches up and over. Keep wrapping your right sits bone, or left sits bone rather, underneath of you. Maybe sliding that left hand closer to the back of your left ankle and reaching those left fingertips. See if you could bring them closer to touching the wall. Keep anchoring down as you reach. Left shoulder rolls back. Inhale, arms come back out over the legs. Here's where we get a little crazy again. Don't worry, don't get too attached to it. It doesn't matter if you lose it. You're gonna start to pivot both sets of toes in the opposing direction. The left toes turn down and right toes turn forward. Plant your palms. Option to stay put here or take that right foot up against the wall. Bend your knees a little bit as you walk your hands back towards the wall and then straighten your legs. Lift your hips way up. Press your chest towards the wall, and this time it's the left toes that lift way up. Keep pressing that right foot into the anchor. Breathing for 3. Breathing for 2. Nice work on 1. Left foot comes all the way down. Right foot comes all the way down. Roll forward, coming into high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Upward facing dog or cobra pose, your choice. And then roll those hips back to downward facing dog. Nice work. All right, one more time through. Right leg goes sky high. Lift those left toes off of the floor. Left foot comes down, right foot steps through, coming into your high lunge pose. Spin that back foot out, warrior 2 pose. Left hand against the wall, right fingertips reach towards the center. Revolve it, back hand lowers, see if you can bring right fingertips to touch the wall. Inhale, front leg straightens, pivot the toes, so you're in a wide-legged stance. Hands come to the lower back, press the hips forward, look up, and then exhale, start to fold forward. Sliding your hands down the outsides of your calves, your ankles, maybe catching the outer edges of your feet, maybe taking yogi toe grip. Elbows will bend out to draw the crown of the head down. Releasing through the back of the neck, belly button pulls back and in, and those hips lift up. Let the neck and shoulders relax. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Plant your palms, let's walk back to the lunge. Right foot forward, left heel up against the wall. Plant your left palm. We're coming to that side plank variation. So rocking to the outer edge of your left foot, right foot steps back, maybe right foot goes way up, maybe left foot lifts. Plant both of your hands, sliding forward, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Step your right foot all the way up in between your hands, left shin comes in, bring that shin bone all the way down to the floor, bring your forehead towards your knee. Inhale to standing split. Left leg goes up, belly to thigh. All right, so we're gonna pivot to face the wall this time with an option to do a little handstand hopping here. So I want you to make sure that you're starting a leg's length distance away from the wall like we have been. And it's gonna feel a little bit scary. So when you hop over, there's gonna be a moment where you start to feel like, oh my God, the wall's not gonna be there. But remember, you touch the wall, your foot can get to it. So you're gonna bring foot up against the wall. Once you have that measure, place your hands where your feet were. Plant your palms shoulder width distance apart. You're gonna take that left leg up sky high, right foot plants. And I want you to see if you can come up onto the ball of your right foot and take a little hop. And you might bring yourself all the way up and over so that your left toes tap the wall. Reach up through your right foot and see if you can scissor the legs to touch. And then bring it back down again. Try a few times. So left leg goes sky high. Bend your right knee. Maybe come up onto the ball of your right foot. Take a little hop. Maybe touch those left toes to the wall. And then if you've got that, reach up through the ball of your right foot and see if you can scissor the left foot to meet it. Give it one more try. Whew. Last time. Whoop. All right, let's stand on our hands. So walk your feet in, lift your feet up, slide your hands all the way up so that your big toes are kind of touching your wrists. And that might mean that you need to bend the knees quite a bit. Take a little walk in place here. And then release the hands out from underneath of the feet and roll yourself all the way up to stand. Let's turn to face back in towards the center of the room. Last standing side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Hands plant. Step those feet back up against the wall. Inhale, left leg goes up. Curl those toes under. See if you can bring your right foot to a hover. It's like you're sucking that hip in and back. Right foot comes back down again. Left foot steps through. High lunge pose. Arms reach up to frame your ears. Exhale, back foot spins out. Warrior two. Anchor the pinky edge of that back foot. Anchor your right palm. Revolve it. Right hand lowers down. Left fingertips reach up and over. Maybe you're able to touch the wall. Straighten your front leg. Pivot those toes. And let's take it into our forward fold. With the option, if you practice headstand or a forearm stand, you can either bring your forearms down to the floor or your palms directly behind your shoulders, drawing the crown of the head down. And once the crown of the head is on the floor, taking those legs all the way up. Elbows hug in tight. Pull the shoulder blades down and together. Reach up through the balls of the feet. And then bring it back down again. See if you can plant your feet exactly where they moved from. Lifting back up again. Pivot yourself to a lunge. Left toes turn forward. Ball of your right foot up against the wall. Plant your right palm, side plank pose. So you're rocking to the outer edge of your right foot and then sliding your left leg way up. Pressing down, maybe lifting that bottom leg. Plant your hands. Let's come to our high lunge pose, or rather high plank pose. Step your left foot all the way through. Right knee slides in. Bring that shin bone onto the floor. Bring your forehead to your left knee. Standing split. Plant your palms. Right leg goes sky high. Second side for those handstand hops. So let's turn to face back towards the wall. This time it's your left foot that's planted. Right toes reach up. We normally find that one side is a little bit easier than the other. So you're going to reach up through the ball of that right foot. Remember that you're making sure that you're about a leg length distance away from the wall. You can even challenge yourself a little bit to go further away. You're still going to touch. Another footprint is fine. All right. Right leg goes up. Take that hop. Maybe seeing if you can get a little bit of air time. Give it one more try. Whew. One more time, let's stand on those hands. So walking your feet all the way up to your wrists. Give a little walk in place. Let your neck and your shoulders relax. Completely relax your upper body. All right, walk those hands out from underneath of your feet and roll yourself all the way up to stand. Okay, this is one of my favorite transitions, but don't feel obligated to do it. We're gonna make our way down onto our backs. So option one is simply coming down onto the floor, and you're gonna turn with your feet so that your toes are touching up against the wall. If you wanted to try a little back bend walk down the wall, super fun. You're gonna come again a little bit closer than a leg's length distance. And you're gonna start with your hands on your lower back, your elbows hugging towards one another, the chest is going to lift. And then you're gonna start to take your arms up. The knees are gonna bend a little bit, and you're gonna plant your palms up against the wall. Chest is lifted. Now, as you walk your hands down, your feet are gonna walk out. Try to keep those knees parallel. And you're coming down into your full wheel. So the key is that there has to be enough pressure between your hand and the wall in order for you to walk it down, but there also needs to be enough space for you to take it through the back bend. So as your hands come down, yes! Got other people in the room doing this. I wish I could show you. They're rocking it out. So Haley, if you get nervous, just walk your hands back up the wall. Yep. Yeah. Oh, God. You got it. There you go. I got you. Nice. Change the chest. Bring it down. Come down. Or come back up. You can also come back up again. All right. You're going to turn yourself so that your feet are up against the wall. Some folks might find that blocks underneath of the feet is a nice way to give yourself a little bit more space. So you're touching the tips of your toes up against the wall. You're walking your glutes in towards your heels. If you just did full wheel, you are open enough. You can absolutely do it again. If you prefer to stick with bridge pose, and I'll start by describing that, you can absolutely stay here. So feet right up against the wall. Start to curl your lower back, your middle back, your upper back, until eventually you can walk your shoulder blades underneath of you. And you'll notice that the press of the toes into the wall gives you the ability to really lift, to arc a little bit more through your upper back. Keep your gaze up towards the ceiling and press the back of the head into the floor. Imagine you are holding an invisible block between your thighs, so there's a squeeze in towards center. Now if you wanted to come to full wheel from here, hands come next to your ears, fingers facing down towards your shoulders, press down to lift up. 5 breaths. Pressing the toes into the wall will help. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Chin touch to chest. Bring it all the way back down to the floor. Slide your feet so that they're the height of your knees. Just let the back of your body press into support with the mat beneath you. And then let your arms come out to the sides of the body in the shape of a T or a cactus. And you can press your toes into the wall to shift your right hip to the center of your mat. And then walk your feet all the way over to the right. So that right hip is underneath of you. Your feet are up against the wall and you're using your feet to help to deepen that twist. See if you can pull your left hip so it's directly over top of your right hip. And the press of the feet into the wall can help with this. Now for most of us, that left shoulder starts to lift. Press the back of your head into the floor. Lift your shoulder blades and scoot them both over to the right. That will bring your left shoulder down. And then take your gaze over your opposite shoulder. Start to let your body soften. So we still have those points of contact, but we're maybe not being quite as aggressive with the press. Let your inner thighs relax, let your neck relax, your breath get a little easier. And then walk your feet back to center. Press the feet into the wall so that you can scoot yourself back to the middle. We'll take the twist in the opposite direction. Press your feet into the wall. Scoot the left hip towards the center of the mat. And let both of your legs drop towards the left. Try to pull your right hip so that it's directly over top of your left hip. And then press the back of your head into the floor. And scoot both of your shoulder blades over to the left. You'll notice that brings your right shoulder down. Gazing in the opposite direction from your legs. And then bring the legs all the way back to center. You're gonna slide your butt right up against the molding. So you might lift yourself up. You're gonna bring one butt cheek right up against the molding so that you can sweep both of your legs up the wall. And you can either have your legs extended, place the soles of the feet against the wall. You can come into Baddha Konasana with the soles of the feet together. And then maybe using your hands to gently press those knees towards the wall. Squeeze your glutes a little bit, which is gonna help to widen or bring your knees closer to the wall itself. Upper body completely relaxed and at ease. So you have the option of staying put here. If you're enjoying just legs up the wall, this is one of the most therapeutic postures, and you really can stay in this for as long as you'd like. Or if you'd like to work towards shoulder stand, before you come to it, and we're going to utilize the wall for this as well. It's another nice place to utilize the wall. I do recommend that you give yourself just a little extra space between your shoulders and the floor. So start by taking the end of your mat where your head was and roll it towards your legs. And what we're looking for is that when you come down onto your back, that the shoulders, the tops of your shoulders are lining up with that lining. And it just gives your neck a little bit more breathing room. Then from here, the soles of the feet come to the wall. You're going to press to lift your hips, and you'll start to walk your hands underneath the back of your body. So with the feet on the wall, it really allows you to walk your elbows closer together. Keep your gaze directly up towards the ceiling the whole time. And you're going to bring your hands to either side of the back of your pelvis. And then extend one leg up and extend the other leg up. Keep pressing the back of your head into the floor. So there's always a little space for your cervical spine. If you feel like your neck is being compressed, I don't recommend doing this. Reach up through the balls of the feet, squeeze your inner thighs together, and press the hips, the front of your hips, towards the space behind you. Option to stay with this, or to bring the legs all the way up and over the head. And if the toes come firmly to the floor, then you might release your hands from the lower back and either press your palms into the mat or interlace your fingers and press the pinky edge of your hand down. But keep pressing the back of your head into the floor. Try to reach your heels towards the space behind you. Option for your pressure pose, bringing the tops of the feet to the floor. Again, there should always be space between your neck and the floor. If your neck starts to flatten, skip this part. Drop your knees down to the outsides of your ears, tops of the feet come to the mat, and then wrap your arms around the outsides of your legs. Straighten your legs, bring your hands to either side of the lower back. Take the legs up one at a time so you're coming back through your shoulder stand. And then place your right foot on the wall. Place your left foot on the wall. And bring your hips all the way down. Draw both knees in towards your chest. Lift your head and your shoulders off of the floor, rounding your body. And then you're going to unwind the mat and turn to face so that your feet are going back in towards the center of the room and your head is by the wall. You're going to bring your hands underneath of your glutes. Legs will be straight out in front of you. So hands are underneath of your glutes, palms facing down. Elbows are working close to one another behind the back. And you're lifting up through the center of your chest, taking your gaze way up towards the ceiling. Looking towards the space behind you, slide your heels in, which is going to lower the top of your head down. Keep your chest lifted. So there's barely any weight on the top of your head, and you're looking straight back behind you. Option to lift your feet off of the floor if you wanted to work your core a little bit. And then look at your feet. Bring your feet to the floor and come all the way down onto your back, bringing your hands out from underneath of you. Bring your right leg up. Walk those hands to the back of your leg, maybe walking your elbows behind the back of the leg. You might be grazing the back of your ankle. Extend out through your left toes and then lift your head and your shoulders off of the floor. Did a lot of hamstring work today, so you should be a little bit closer. Be able to bring your forehead to your knee. And then let your head and your shoulders release all the way down. And let's cradle that right leg like a baby. So you're holding the outer edge of your right foot with your left hand and the outside of your right knee with your right hand. Or you might actually bring the outer edge of your foot and your knee into the creases of your elbow. Head and shoulders lower down. It's like a reclined variation of pigeon pose.
And you're kind of lifting that foot up towards your chest and lowering the heel down to intensify and detensify. I don't know if that's really a word, but and then extend that right leg out. Switch sides. Left toes reach up towards the ceiling. Hands come to the back of your calf, your thigh, maybe all the way up to the back of your ankle. Elbows hug in tight towards the space behind the leg. Point your right toes as well. Straighten your legs. And then see if you can lift your head and your shoulders off of the floor. Drawing the leg towards your forehead, your knee towards your forehead towards your knee. And then head and shoulders lower all the way back down to the mat. Let's cradle that left leg like a baby. Might be a different option from side number one. Hips tend to be fairly asymmetrical and it's a big muscle group. So really notice the difference. Either holding the outside of the calf with your hands or the creases of your elbows, lifting and lowering that foot. And then happy baby pose. Catch the outer edges of calves, ankles, or feet with your hands. Make sure that the backs of your shoulder blades, the tops of your shoulders, and the whole of your pelvis is on the floor. So if any part of that is lifting, make that your first priority. Whole back of the body pressing onto the mat. Then press your hands into the pinky edges of your feet into the pinky edges of your hands. Knees driving down wide, maybe a little rock side to side. Maybe straightening one leg into your hand and bending that knee, straightening the other leg. And then whenever you're ready, let your legs extend out to the right and the left edges of the mat for your final resting pose. Or because we're up against the wall, if legs up the wall felt really nice to you, feel free to turn back around again and to go back to that posture. I know that's where I'm gonna land. So your Shavasana, your time to be quiet and still, doing anything that you need to do so that you feel comfortable and supported. So that means, if you need to fidget at all, if you need to wiggle one side of the body or the other so that you feel more symmetrical. Hands will be palms face up if that's comfortable, or if you find yourself feeling a little anxious or a little overstimulated, you can put your hands on your body, a hand on the chest, a hand on the belly, help to create a sense of grounding. Let's take a long, slow breath in together. And then open your mouth and exhale, let it go. Let the whole back of your body really seep down into connection with the earth, with the mat. If legs are up the wall, you might notice that there's this sense of reversal. Maybe imagine the whole back of your body, any parts of your body that are making contact with the floor were porous enough that you were draining out areas of tension or the stuff that you've been carrying around that is no longer really a part of your life anymore. Somehow it just became baggage. Feel free to pause the video or stop the video if you prefer to remain in Shavasana for longer. Just stay put. Otherwise, if you've got your legs up the wall, you'll just place the soles of the feet on the wall so that you can kind of roll onto one of your sides. If you're laying on your back, knees drawn towards your chest, you're just resting for a moment in the fetal position. Making your way into a seated position for just a little bit of guided breath work before we end our practice today. This is alternate nostril breathing. Again, if you needed to wash your hands, if you didn't want to touch your face, I totally understand. Again, pause the video. Feel free to go wash your hands first. Otherwise, with the right hand, you're going to place your pointer finger and your middle finger on the space between your brows, your third eye center, kind of stimulating our intuition, our inner wisdom. And you're going to breathe in through both of your nostrils. Now, with your thumb, close off your right nostril and exhale through your left. Inhale through your left nostril. With your ring finger, close off the left nostril as well. And we're going to find our locks, which are the bandhas. The chin tucks down towards the chest. The pelvic floor pulls in and up. The belly button draws in and up. Just take a moment to hold, close. And then lift the head and exhale through your right nostril. Inhale through your right nostril. Close the right nostril, hold, chin to chest, find your bandhas, that lift in your pelvic floor and the lower belly, just trapping your prana or your life force in the cavity of the torso. Open the left and exhale. Inhale, left nostril. Close and hold. Even though you're holding these locks, we're looking to find ease, so softening behind your eyes, around your jaw and your shoulders. Open right and exhale. Inhale right. Close and hold, find your locks. See if you can look into the space of your body. So instead of analyzing, you're letting your awareness drop into sensation. Open left nostril, exhale. Inhale left. Close and hold. Exhale right. Inhale right. Hold. Exhale left. Inhale left. Hold. Exhale right. We'll do one last round together. And then a round is an inhale and an exhale on both sides. So just do the best that you can. Don't worry too much about getting it right. When you've completed that last round, just let your hands come to rest on your thighs, thumb and forefinger touching, just normal breath, just observing the effects of the entirety of your practice, the breath work, the wall work, let it settle. And then bring your palms together and lift your thumb knuckles to the space between your brows, just gently folding forward over your mat. This is just a symbol or an offering of your practice up. That through your senses, all beings may experience peace, safety, health, and the capacity to love and be loved. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me this evening. I hope you had some fun, learned some new things, and hopefully I will see you all later on in the week, maybe tonight even. See you soon. There we go. All donezos.